Very much, ladies and gentlemen. Simba Corp moved into the hospitality sector predominantly 2 or 3 years ago with our camp in the Amara, and then of course we built the Villa Rosa, and both properties are managed by Kempinski Hotel Group from Germany. It's an international group, but hopefully with this platform of investing with the international group, we plan to move into a 3-star hotel program, which will be locally based with a local brand. And the idea behind that is to learn from the best and then take this experience and develop hospitality across from the east to the west. That's the strategy that Simba has taken, and hopefully that's a strategy that will be very successful in the future. The story about hospitality, and I'm only going to concentrate on hospitality, is what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm sure you've seen that movie, and the ugly guy was quite an effect in that movie, so we'll talk about that last. But the good basically is that Africa, and particularly Kenya, has lots of homegrown investment. There are people in Kenya who are investing in hospitality, putting their own money into business, borrowing from local banks, and this is really a good phenomenon. There are about 20 new hotels coming up in Nairobi. And if that's an indicator, then hospitality is a great effect for investment in Africa. There are proposed 100 new hotels across Eastern Africa coming up in the next 3 or 4 years. This is a great sign that people are looking at hospitality as a way in which they can make some money. The quality of the product coming into Eastern Africa is improving immensely. The facilities that you see today, you will not have seen previously. And to make an investment like this takes a lot of confidence. Confidence that the African economies are going to be economies in which we will be able to generate good returns. The standards that we have managed to have here now, and we will continue to see in all investments coming henceforth, are international standards. Standards in which people will be able to expect a certain level of cleanliness, a certain level of accommodation that they didn't see before. More money is available for hospitality in Africa. The investment in Villa Rosa was funded by Standard Chartered Bank, which is our neighbor next door. And this is the first hospitality investment they have put money into in the last 10 years. So they also have confidence that they will get their money back by investing with us. So I think this is a great opportunity for banks to come and help African development in hospitality. Infrastructure is another area in which I think you have seen that most African countries are now looking at infrastructure. Infrastructure is fundamental to the hospitality industry. If you can't get to your resort, you won't go there. So these are the kind of places that really play into the good side of what's happening. Now I'm going to talk about the bad. Some infrastructure is also very bad. And to give you an example, we've been planning an airport, a new airport in Jomo Kenyatta, which is supposed to handle 11 million passengers. And we're still talking about it. Now, if we don't have enough planes landing on our airports, we don't have enough visitors coming to this country. And if the capacity of Nairobi Airport is 6 million, then we will remain at 6 million because we can't bring people in. And I think this is fundamental for government to start looking and saying, we need to fast track how we get people into this country. Similarly, roads, rail, all these issues undermine investment in hospitality. I'm going to talk about corruption, and I asked a question about corruption. Corruption is really a deterrent to investment in hospitality. To give you an example, an inspector came to see us at the office and said, you have an expired ketchup bottle. So we said, all right, it's expired, so we'll throw it away. He said, no, we're going to close you down. That kind of corruption really deters investment in hospitality. And of course, we stopped eating ketchup. But the idea is that we need to really tackle corruption. I think one of the areas where hospitality needs to do more is to talk to government and really engage in these kind of practices. The other area, of course, is customs. How do we bring things into this country? There are incentives to bring things into the country, not paying duties. But the customs officer there is not being trained to understand that if he holds me up in building this hotel, then he is doing the country a disservice. And I think these are the kind of areas where the bad part of things happen. Approvals, getting approvals from city councils is becoming still very difficult. And these are areas, I think, where we will find challenges in the future. I think the most difficult part for us is finding the right people. We had an excellent Swiss developed school for Italy, and that school is not functioning. So getting hospitality trained by international standards is going to be a challenge. And one of the things the private sector is doing is looking for ways of opening up their own schools. The ugly, basically, is security. Security is an area where if we are not able to secure our guests, we will not have a hospitality industry. And I think everybody saw the Westgate fiasco. Those kind of episodes really do us no good. So that's the ugly part of it. But I do believe that our governments are going to be taking the mantle and making sure that we can provide security for all our guests coming to this country. The things that I'd like to talk about now are what are the game changers. Game changers is that hospitality in Africa is not only foreigners from outside of Africa coming in. Hospitality is going to be based fundamentally on African visitors. People from Africa visiting Africa. And I think what we need to do is develop an African hospitality, not copy the West. The sizes of our rooms, particularly on the small 3- and 2-star rooms, are going to have to be looked at very critically. There are a lot of international chains like Accor and them coming in giving you small 16 square meter rooms, and these rooms for Africans don't work. We are bigger people. We need more space. So I think it's very important for people to understand that. The Africans need space, and we need to develop a hospitality that fits with that. The rate of return on hospitality is going to go down. And I think we need to take that with our stride. And how it will go down is as more rooms get built, there will be more pressure on pricing, and as pricing goes down, your return will be done accordingly. But that doesn't mean that you don't invest in hospitality. Hospitality is a great place to put money. I think governments are getting more involved, and I think we need to be pushing them a lot more than we have in the past. We need to have a structure to develop what is the classification of hotels across Africa. What's a 2-star? What's a 3-star? We need to develop that. And governments to really take the mantle and give us that direction. The blind following the blind. We don't need to follow the Western brands blindly. I think there is this idea that if you're the Hilton, then that's the way you should stay. I think people in Africa need to live and stay in African hotels. The Serenas of this world, the Sarogas of this world, the Simba Courts of this world are where you should be staying, because we are going to be looking at your needs. And I think it's very important for Africa to look at that. Does that mean that we don't follow it? We learn from these people, but we don't follow them blind. Last and foremost is that Africa is a very resilient place. Particularly in Kenya, we have a Westgate, and we have all of you here today. And that shows that this is an industry that's so resilient that even after that kind of episode, all of you have planned to come here and attend this conference here today. So that's my last part. Thank you very much.